This is Singapore in 1965 and this is Singapore in 2025. A country which is half the size of Delhi, so tiny you can barely see on the world map, is the third wealthiest nation in the world with a GDP higher than US Germany. Every 1 in 15 person is a millionaire here and stands on the top on the list of the most literate countries. But this was not always the case. Just 60 years ago, Singapore was home to one of the largest slum settlements in the world. More than 2/3 of the people were living in extreme poverty and more than half of the population were illiterate and unemployment was at its peak. So how this nation with overwhelming poverty became one of the richest in just 60 years? So that's the story we are going to uncover today. Let's begin.
Was a mud flat, swamp. Today, this is our modern city. 10 years from now, this will be a metropolis.
Lots of things were to happen in the next 60 years that was going to change the destiny of Singapore. But there is this one character who is in the center of all this, who has contributed more to the story of Singapore than any other person. He is known as the founding father of modern Singapore and also the first Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. After Singapore got independence in 1965, Lee Kuan Yew came to power. He realized that Singapore has a lot of disadvantages: illiteracy, unemployment, lack of natural resources, people don't have houses, most people live in slums. The only thing that was in favor of Singapore was its global geographical location. It was on the tip of the Strait of Malacca. Through this route, the entire world's 30% of the trade passed through. Lee understood the importance of its location and capitalized on it. The first thing after he came to power he did was rebuilding the Singapore port, which was destroyed by Japanese in World War II. One of the important jobs of Singapore port was handling and processing of the trade that passed through the port. That's one of the way port made their money. And port also gave lots of business opportunities for people of Singapore, like building storage facilities, ship repairment services, container repairment services. It's not just gave business opportunities for people of Singapore, but because of its crucial global trading point, it attracted businesses from all around the world, which also gave lots of jobs to people living there. Lee Kuan Yew, observing this, constantly made changes to its policies that made it very easy for foreign companies to establish their businesses in Singapore, like manufacturing plants, oil plants. Talking about the oil, the import and export of oil has been a big part in the success of Singapore, especially in the early stages when Lee came to power. What companies did was they started importing foreign oil, refining them, storing them, and they would sell to the ships passing by, working as a global fuel station for ships across the world. Soon Singapore port became the busiest port in the world until it was overtaken by Shanghai port in 2010. But it's still the busiest transshipment port in the world. A transshipment port is a port where cargo is temporarily unloaded from one ship and loaded to another ship to continue its journey to the final destination to reduce the shipping cost and improve efficiency. Because Singapore port was one of the busiest ports in the world and trade transactions happening there was in exponential numbers, the finance needed to be very strong to maintain, handle and process these transactions. This attracted banking corporations from all over the world, which in turn led Singapore to become the global financial hub, and it still ranks among the top in the list of global financial centers. Okay, now you need to understand this one thing. The economy of Singapore was solely based on its port. All the businesses and corporations that were coming from all over the world to Singapore was because of its port. All the businesses that was being established by the Singaporean people was somehow related to the port. And all the Singaporean people who were employed were directly or indirectly were working in related to the port activities. An exponential number of trade was happening on the port. To manage and handle this trade, a strong financial banking system had to be set up, which attracted a lot of banking corporations from all around the world. But to run this banking corporation efficiently and effectively, educated and skilled people were needed. And Lee government understood this, so they started invested heavily on their education system. Not only they improved their education system, but they also made changes to their policies that attracted foreign talents from all around the world. One of the crucial things that Lee government established that faced a lot of criticism at the time but in hindsight was a great decision, was to make English language compulsory in offices, in schools and everywhere. This made interaction with the international community easier, which in turn attracted a lot of foreign companies in hope to get skilled talents in Singapore. Apart from Singapore's great geographical location, influx of foreign investment, improvement in the education system, here are some of the Lee government actions and policies that made Singapore a miracle success story. Solving housing crisis. When Singapore got independence in 1965, it was facing a severe housing crisis. Two-thirds of the people were living in slums. That is approximately 1 million people. To solve this issue, Lee government passed a law that allowed them to purchase 90% of the Singaporean land for cheap rates and started building affordable apartments for low and middle income families. Home ownership gave a sense of safety, social stability, financial security to the people of Singapore. Thus, they don't have to worry about the basic thing like owning a home and just focus on working and contributing to the economy. And this was only possible by the use of extraordinary saving program called Central Provident Fund implemented by the government. According to this program, all the workers must save 20% of their income to this fund, and they can use this fund as a down payment for buying the same apartment that was built by the government. This strategy has earned a lot of goodwill and support to the Lee government from the poor people of Singapore. Lee government action against corruption. In 1965, Singapore was plagued with insecurity and corruption. In a dangerous season, piracy, trafficking, organized crime. It is now the 5th least corrupt country in the world and one of the safest with some of the lowest crime rate in the world. And how did it make it possible? And the answer is by increasing the salary of the government officials. As of today, Singapore's Prime Minister is the highest paid politician in the world, earning estimated around 2.2 million per year. Ministers who handle their department get a fixed salary and bonuses based on the socio-economic outcomes of their work. Lee believed that if politicians and government officials are paid well, they are more inclined to building the country and less inclined to earning money through illegal and immoral ways. In a way, Lee hiked their salaries so much that the idea of corruption didn't come in the mind. Authoritarian government. As a Singaporean citizen, you are not much allowed to do any kind of protest, political activism, tight control over the media. If anyone did critique the government and the case goes to court, the court mostly takes decision in the favor of the government. Lee stated that it was necessary for the government to run and make decisions smoothly and maintain stability. This political stability attracted investors to invest in Singapore because they knew that there won't be any change in the policy in the coming future. What Lee wanted actually happened. Singapore grew and grew very fast. People became rich and wealthy, and Lee Kuan Yew believed that if you make people rich and happy, they won't go to protest in the first place. It's the same analogy he used for politicians and government officials when he was taking action against corruption. Certainly, after doing days of research and scripting and everything, I found that the most important thing that helped Singapore become what it is today is the first thing is having the great geographical location, and second thing is the luck. Luck to have a prime minister like Lee Kuan Yew just after it got independence. A person who really wanted Singapore to grow, not just fill his own pockets. There are other governments in the world that are democratic government, that are elected by people, but they still loot people. They still steal from the taxpayers' money. But on the other hand, Lee Kuan Yew, being the authoritarian government, banning on any kind of protest, banning on any kind of free media, and still he eradicated the corruption. And he genuinely wanted for the people of Singapore to grow, to become wealthy, for the whole Singapore to become wealthy, to have a great education system. He really wanted people from all over the world to come and invest in Singapore. And thank you for watching the video, and see you in the next video.